Hello, my name is Bob Brown. I'm the chief cook and bottle washer here at Cardston Medical Research. I'm going to run over a product line at a slow pace. There's something called electromedicine, which is slowly coming to the forefront, and it's all theoretical right now, as the big studies haven't been done on it. So I'd like to say I am not a medical professional or licensed physician, and these are just my opinions on the research, and I reserve my rights as given to me by God, my Creator. With that having been said, I have a 4-year electronics degree from the U.S. Navy, and my partner has a certificate in electrical engineering for Canada. And we got together and put these things together for you, and we've gone through all the research on these. We've actually built all the devices leading up to these, as Bob Beck did, to see what they actually do and which one is what. So for anyone interested in experimenting on their own with these new technologies, we're providing the machines. This is our main unit. It's a 3-in-1 unit. It's a ZAPPER, a blood electrification unit, and a colloidal silver maker. And this is pretty well all you need to control your health. And right now I'm going to make some colloidal silver water while I talk about the rest of this machine. Colloidal silver is silver ions in water, and it's been around since the turn of the century. And a silver ion, when it's breathed in by a pathogen, neutralizes the pathogen's enzyme that it uses to take in oxygen with, and it dies in about 6 minutes from oxygen starvation. And it's capable of killing 650 kinds of pathogens, which is pretty close to all the ones there are. And it's safe. The lethal dose of this is 125 million gallons of it in your body, so it's pretty safe. It's best made with steam distilled or demineralized water, otherwise it goes a bit dark, and the water should be warm. And we sell them with pure silver 9999 silver rods. And to apply the voltage, you plug the silver maker in here and connect alligator clips to the silver rods themselves. Doesn't matter what the polarity is. And this particular unit is AC, which allows us to get up to over 30 volts, 36 volts, which we bring back down to 30, which is the ideal voltage for making colloidal silver water. So I'll just let that percolate. About 25 minutes it's ready, and then you can use it to get rid of a cold or an upset stomach. You can use it for generally cleaning parasites out of your intestines. And the average person has about 2 pounds of worms and parasites in them, and nobody wants that. So this is one method of getting rid of that. Another big part of this, since we're talking about parasites, is the blood electrification unit, which is 27 volt section on this. It's pulsating square waves, positive half of the square wave, And if you can get it close enough to your blood, the electromagnetism from the electricity kills small parasites in the blood, and there are parasites in the blood. I'm going to turn on the unit and turn on the colloidal silver maker. Let that percolate. This is a diagram of before and after the bloodstream. If you look at blood under a microscope, it has all these little dots along with the blood cells. And they call it that noise, and it's expected that it will be there. The people who look at your blood and test it and do the blood testing, I just assume it's there. It's just part of the way things are. Well, after using the blood electrification unit, the fluid in the blood is clear of all those little parasites, and the white blood cells are energized and more able to eat the larger pathogens they might run into. And this is such an abrupt change that people who use these things have been accused of using other people's blood on the second sample. So these need to be moistened. This is electrodes with pure cotton wrapped around as a buffer between the metal and your skin. I'm going to cheat a little bit here because I didn't bring my little bit of water. So we'll get some moisten these. This is best done with water with a little bit of sea salt in them. And then use the straps that come with it, and wrap this around your left wrist. Or if you have a Gray's Anatomy, anywhere where the blood is close to the surface. There are two big arteries here. This is actually the closest place on the human body where the blood is. So this is the standard handling for this. If you can see them or feel the pulse points, find out where the arteries are, and turn this on and adjust to comfort level. You can feel a slight tingling, and this as a treatment is recommended 2 hours a day for 21 days, and that is the treatment. And then a couple of weeks off and maybe do it again. For people who are really sick, you can do it longer. You can do it for 1 month, 2 months. So it's called blood electrification. There are places on your ankle you can do this. If you get a Gray's Anatomy, you can look around and see where you might want to be doing this. And for the way all this got started was with a thing called the ZAPPER, which a lady called Dr. Hulda Clark developed a long time with her son, who's an engineer. We make them separately, these little zappers, and they plug in to these handheld electrodes. And first treatment with this is 7 minutes on and 20 minutes off, and that will have killed all the major large parasites in your body. In 7 minutes they begin to dissolve, and the smaller parasites and white blood cells attack them and break them up. Second 7 minutes after you've waited 20 minutes kills the medium-sized parasites that were hiding in the big parasites. You get a 20-minute break. And then a third session will get the very, very small parasites and worms that were living in the medium-sized parasites. And you can use this, some people use them for quite a while to clean out the body. You'll notice right away the next morning you'll get a mild bowel movement that's very smelly because it's full of dead parasites and worms and other things we don't like to discuss in polite company. This is seemingly a small thing, but it by itself can work miracles. The colloidal silver by itself is a miracle worker. And there's a third product called MMS, which I'll have to go and get. I have Lyme disease, and it's ruined my life. I didn't know what it was until right now when I started doing this, and I've had debilitating or bone-crushing fatigue for as long as I can remember, and in the last few years it'd be I couldn't get to work till 10 to 5 sometimes, which is quitting time. Then I'd fall asleep and wake up at 6:30, or I'd get in at 3 and sleep till 4:30. It's cost me thousands of dollars throughout my lifetime. And we have a sleep aid called a cranial electrostimulator. This came out of Russia. And Dr. Patterson in Hong Kong, working with people there, discovered that people who were on drugs began to originate that they no longer wanted to take drugs. And they were able to quit with no withdrawal symptoms. So this is handy for drug withdrawal. I don't sleep. It's one of the symptoms of Lyme disease, is not sleeping. And it's been going on so long, I've never thought about it anymore. I thought it was a good thing I didn't sleep, because I'm always busy. Now this thing, amazingly, can get rid of the worst effect of having Lyme disease, which is called brain fog. Which is, if you've ever driven a car too long and you should pull over and get a motel, and you foolishly keep going, and you just get that super tired feeling. That I have that, and lots of people who have Lyme disease have that, and it keeps you from being able to function. Well, this thing is microcurrent. It doesn't even go up to 1 milliamp. It's way under 1 milliamp. This is way less than if you took a battery and stuck it on your tongue. That would be a far more exciting experience than this. So this is done with ear clips, electrodes, and a little tiny current. There's actually, this one has 4 different frequencies, and we mix them. That's just called heterodyning, so it comes out with, I think, 256 different frequencies. Again, you adjust to comfort. You can barely feel this on full. It's just like a little tingle. And for me, after about 40 minutes, I'm wide awake and I'm able to function. Generally, when brain fog hits, I tell myself I just have to lie down for 10 minutes, and I wake up 1, 2, 3 hours later. Less production time. People wonder what's wrong with me, or what's wrong with you? If you're so smart, how come you ain't rich? That kind of stuff. So if you have Lyme disease, this eliminates brain fog. If you can't sleep, this will put you to sleep. The first night I tried this, I woke up the next day almost like, what happened? What do you mean it's the next day? And it happened 3 days in a row. So I highly recommend it. Insomnia is a real killer. I did figure out a second use for the blood electrifier, along with the fatigue in the head that I have, is a strange sensation in my lower back, which I used to say was like a magnet holding me in bed. And I said that to a friend of mine once, and he just was really excited that he said I had the same thing, I just never told anybody. He thought he was lazy or crazy. So I looked on Grey's Anatomy, and there are there's a cluster of glands at the bottom of the spine, and another product we will be making is a coil of wire with a pulse in it, like a strobe light, and that sends a burst of radio waves about maybe 9 inches into the body and is able to kill parasites, one-celled organisms, viruses, germs, disease, theoretically. So I thought, oh yeah, Bob Beck said that there are viruses hiding in the glands around on large organs in the body, and that device is able to get at them. So I thought this voltage coming up for the electrifier might be able to be used like a TENS unit, like those muscle relaxing units. So I bought a couple of pads and put them on my back and crank this thing up, and it does work like that. And I thought, if there are Lyme spirochetes there, when they die they release neurotoxins, which is one of the problems with the brain fog and tiredness. And I think people who also have MS, a lot of them have Lyme spirochetes, and when they die, as the immune system kills them, it causes inflammation, swelling of the nerves, and the neurotoxins are released, which I personally think is part of the paralysis connected with MS. So I thought, if I'm going to kill parasites there, Lyme parasites, my back should be worse in the morning from the release of neurotoxins. And it was. And it took about 6 hours for that to clear up, and after that my back was better. So I did it again 2 days later, knowing you need some time to flush out the neurotoxins. There's a lady who has ALS. I only have the data from her. I don't know her personally. She used a ZAPPER every day for a month, and there were too many neurotoxins, and she actually got a worsening of her condition for a while. She had to knock back the amount of time she was using the ZAPPER. So it's a secondary use of the blood electrification section. You can use it for a regular TENS unit. Say you played a little too much tennis and you've got a soreness in your arm, you could put this on each part of the muscle and have it gently massaged. So I'm going to be using it that way. There's a couple of side effects to putting electricity in the body. One thing it does is it changes the surface of pathogenic organisms like viruses, so they can no longer attach themselves to cells, which interferes with them doing their dirty work. It also devitalizes and makes them weak and tired, and it allows the white blood cells to get them. And the other interesting effect is this does enervate or energize the white blood cells and makes them more willing to do their job. So if it doesn't, theoretically this kills some of them. If that's not true, then theoretically it devitalizes them and allows the body to do its job, and causes a spontaneous remission because your body is now able to get at the pathogens. The fourth part of this system is something called MMS, or Miracle Mineral Supplement. And you can look that up on the net. It itself is a whole area of miracles with health. And what this is it's a way to get oxygen deep inside the body safely. And it's molecules of oxygen locked onto a chlorine atom. And in this particular formation, it's safe, and we're going to make it even safer. This is kind of an ionized oxygen. It's short 5 electrons in the way it's attached to the chlorine, And when it touches a germ or pathogen, and luckily for us they're oppositely charged to the human body, it immediately steals the electrons from the bug, and the bug explodes or dies. The chlorine ion is released, and everyone knows that chlorine is bad, but it immediately combines with some sodium in the blood, and you get sodium chloride or ordinary salt, which is excreted normally, and the amount that's created is so small it couldn't hurt anyone. And the proof of that is we're going to make some. We take 1 drop of the miracle mineral solution, and we're going to make it safer by putting a 5% solution of citric acid or vitamin C on it, and there'll be a chemical reaction. And wait 3 minutes, and then you drink it, and you get oxygen inside your bloodstream that would not normally be there, and it's used to kill pathogens. The red blood cells grab the oxygen and take it to places and use it to kill germs with. So I'm going to stop. We're not going to wait the full 3 minutes. I'll stop the video and then I'll come back, and I'm actually going to drink this. Okay, that's been 3 minutes for me. No time for you. So this is now ready to be introduced to my body, and it's been about 25 minutes for the colloidal silver, so it's probably ready as well. So since, as I mentioned, I am the cheap cook and bottle washer here, I have access to the dishes. I'm going to put the miracle mineral solution in there, and put some of this colloidal silver water in the glass, and drink it. Bye bye parasites. This has a little tiny taste like bleach, but it's not that bad. These units are handmade. They're tested. They're built by a certified technician. We built all the designs that are available to find out what they actually do. They're diode protected against putting the wrong kind of power supply or even the wrong polarity of the wrong power supply in them. And the chips are on pop-out holders, so if the chip ever goes, it can just be popped out and replaced. 20% of the chips we're buying are turns out they don't work, so the people are trying to build the 97-cent version of this. They have no way of knowing whether the chip is working or not. We tested the waveforms on the ZAPPER on an oscilloscope, and it's positive half of a square wave with a nasty spike on it, which is really good for killing parasites. Some people say that the ZAPPER doesn't have enough power to penetrate because of the skin effect, and the skin effect has nothing to do with skin. The skin effect only applies to alternating current. When a current's going back and forth in a wire, you get something called counter electromotive force, which is what causes the skin effect. It drives the electricity to the outside of the wire, like trying to press on a balloon. That doesn't happen with pulsating DC, which is what these units are. These are like a machine gun. They just rapid fire. And the first day I used this, I got the parasite dump the next morning. So personally, I know they work. And we have 2 engineers here, and I've got 50 years experience in electronics, and he's got 30 with a degree, so these things are as they should be, and they work as promised. And if you're interested in looking into this theoretical area of health improvement, we are providing the research tools for you to use, and they're safe, and they come with isolation transformers. You could probably stand in a bathtub with the electrodes in your mouth, and it would be less exciting than putting a dead battery on your tongue. So some thoughts for your consideration. Well, thanks for dialing in.